Are you passionate about classical music and curious to uncover its hidden gems? Celebrate Polish classical music with Acte Préalable, the world's premier label dedicated to best recordings of Polish classical music. Featuring Poland's finest artists and praised by critics worldwide, our podcast explores the lives and works of exceptional Polish composers. Each episode includes expert insights from renowned music critics, offering unique perspectives and unparalleled depth. Tune in and discover the beauty of Polish classical music, a hidden treasure awaiting your exploration. Today's episode is devoted to Polish-American pianist and composer Wiktor Łabuński. Wiktor Łabuński was born on April 14, 1895, in St. Petersburg, Russia. He grew up in a family deeply rooted in Polish heritage. His father, Stanisław, a railway engineer, and his mother, Lidia Rogowska, daughter of one of Russia's first professional female doctors, ensured a cultured upbringing. The family spoke Polish at home and frequently traveled across Europe, exposing young Wiktor to diverse influences. After a brief stint in the U.S., Stanisław's admiration for the country inspired Wiktor and his older brother, Felix Roderick, also a composer, to eventually settle there permanently. Around 1900, the family moved to Mytyshchi near Moscow, where Stanisław directed a railroad factory. Wiktor's childhood was privileged, marked by private tutors, governesses, and servants. He learned French, German, and English, in addition to Polish and Russian, and took early piano lessons. By age 10, he was performing publicly. In 1911, the family returned to St. Petersburg, where Wiktor enrolled in the St. Petersburg Conservatory, studying piano under Leonid Nikolaev and Felix Blumenfeld, and composition with Vasyl Kalafati and Józef Witols. He also attended St. Petersburg University, initially studying mathematics before switching to law. At the conservatory, he mingled with luminaries like Sergei Rachmaninoff, Sergei Prokofiev, Jascha Heifetz, Nathan Milstein, Nikolai Cherepnin, and Isabella Vengerova. The outbreak of World War I interrupted his studies. After evacuating from England through Scandinavia, he resumed his education but was later sent to a cadet school. He spent part of the war on a quiet front in Romanian Bukovina, where he often played chess with Polish officers from the opposing Austrian army. The 1917 Bolshevik Revolution ended the family's prosperity, forcing Wiktor to support himself. In 1918, he moved to Poland with a diplomatic passport, quickly establishing himself as a piano virtuoso. He won the Paderewski piano competition in Lublin, securing a teaching position at the Krakow Conservatory. He also taught in Lviv and studied composition with renowned conductor and founder of the Warsaw Philharmonic Orchestra, Emil Młynarski, marrying his daughter, Wanda, in 1920. Wanda's family connections further shaped his career. Her sister Nela married pianists Mieczysław Munz and later Artur Rubinstein. In the 1920s, Łabuński gained recognition as a pianist in Poland and abroad, with his first compositions published during this period. In 1928, encouraged by Munz, he moved to the U.S., settling in Tennessee as a piano professor at the Nashville Conservatory. His Carnegie Hall debut that year received mixed reviews despite 5 encores. By 1931, he relocated to Memphis, chairing the keyboard studies department at the Bolman School of Music. The Great Depression led him to consider returning to Poland, where he spent a year performing and caring for his ailing father-in-law, Młynarski, until his death in 1935. Upon returning to the U.S., Łabuński received an honorary doctorate from the Curtis Institute of Music. In 1937, he moved to Kansas City, Missouri, where he spent the rest of his life. He served as artistic director of the Kansas City Conservatory and later as artist-in-residence at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. A prolific performer, he gave over 200 piano recitals in Kansas City alone, becoming a local icon. In 1965, the city celebrated his 70th birthday with Wiktor Łabuński Day. Though composition was not his primary income source, it remained central to his artistic identity. His early works were lost in the Russian Revolution, but his surviving compositions include Władko Serk, 1918, a tribute to Paderewski, and a romantic mazurka, 1919. In the 1920s, he published prize-winning works like Impromptus, Rigaudon, and Menuet, showcasing modern harmonies and Prokofiev's influence. His later works, such as 6 piano pieces dedicated to Rubinstein and Patterns, 1950s, highlight precise rhythm and sparse textures. Łabuński also composed pedagogical pieces, like 4 variations on a theme by Paganini, 1943, and easy pieces for children, and occasionally drew on Polish folklore in works like Humoresque and Rustic Dance. His 2 piano compositions, including the experimental Nocturne and the accessible Poem, remain underappreciated gems. Wiktor Łabuński passed away in Kansas City on January 26, 1974. His legacy is defined by his dual roles as a performer and composer, seamlessly bridging European musical traditions with American modernity. While his works remain under-recognized, they merit broader appreciation for their distinctive voice and contribution to 20th century music. This podcast was produced by Cesare L. Lursky and the Diginet Digital Distribution Network. The content of this podcast is based on the liner notes written by Sławomir Dobrzański for the Acte Préalable album Wiktor Łabuński. Complete piano works produced by Jan A. Jarnicki. 3 of Łabuński's compositions are featured in this podcast: Władca Serca, Lord of the Heart, Mazurek, and Rigaudon. All pieces were performed by Sławomir Dobrzański. All rights reserved. The limited edition CD, as well as a high-fidelity digital audio version with a PDF booklet, can be purchased directly from the Acte Préalable website at Préalable.com. The music from this album is also available on all major streaming platforms.